I'm floored right now.
All right, Sandra, so you'll want to keep it going. If it's clear, just keep going, because Lee said he's floored right now. So he's going to need that momentum. Nice, nice. I couldn't make this up. While contemplating if we were going to start this trail, my friend Silverstone Subi and Sergio P4X made the decision to drive to the base of the trail and camp out. While we were waiting, a Rivian R1T drove up to us. The driver said he was waiting for his friend that was driving a Subaru Forester. This would be the SJ model. It ran from 2014 to 2018. While there is a rock garden at the end of the trail, the biggest challenge for an all-wheel drive is going to be the steep climb. It's so steep that all-wheel drives, or most of them, will be denied. And that's exactly what happened. Several hours after that group started their way up, they had to turn around and make their way down. So it's the Forester.
We tried to do it. We got all the way up to like that last hill.
Yeah.
I just couldn't build enough momentum with the Subi.
Yeah, man, it's a journey.
Yeah, so but we went through some gnarly stuff with the Subi, man.
Anyways, there's a good spot to camp right where I'm standing. You turn off the wash, and you go through the deep sand, and it winds.
In a 2016 article by Outside Magazine, they say that this trail is just too challenging for an all-wheel drive crossover. They use a Jeep Renegade and also a Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk as an example. I'm a little confused there because a Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk is actually really capable. It has more crawl ratio than a Toyota truck. It's geared 50-1. It has double PTUs with a low range. So it does it in a special way, but it's basically four-wheel drive. The only thing it really lacks is ground clearance. I believe it's at around 8.5 inches. And on paper, that might sound similar to four-wheel drives, but the typical body-on-frame four-wheel drive will have more effective ground clearance. The rocker panels are up higher. There's typically better approach and departure angles, at least from the factory. There's just simply more maximum ground clearance compared to an all-wheel drive crossover. In this video, you're going to see two modified all-wheel drives with plenty of ground clearance. Here is Lee, aka Silverstone Subi. His second-gen Outback has a 4-inch lift with slightly bigger tires. This thing was made to have more maximum clearance compared to the more modern Subarus. And then there's my 2019 Honda Passport, and as you can see, I'm probably not going to run into ground clearance issues. But I do need to address something right off the bat, because this question comes up so often. Why didn't I just buy a four-wheel drive? I used to drive one. I drove around a 2008 FJ Cruiser, and I hated driving the thing. I never volunteered to drive to go get lunch or dinner. I despised getting behind the wheel. But just a tip for some of you would-be adventurers that are wanting to get into this. Make sure you like driving your vehicle. Because if you hate driving it and can't stand driving it for long distances, you're really not going to go anywhere. So for all those people that are wondering about my vehicle choice, that think I chose the wrong vehicle, I will tell you what I have here is a life hack. Even with a heavy rooftop tent and a lot of my gear that lives in my vehicle full time, it still makes a great daily driver. And it's capable enough to get me through moderate four-wheel drive trails reliably. I've had this thing for 5.5 years, 175,000 miles. Recently, the very popular YouTube channel TFL chimed in on what all-wheel drives they think could handle rougher terrain, and their list was very short. Remember, this is them talking, not me.
But what about some crossovers and SUVs? Like Ford, what we're in now, the Bronco Sport, specifically the Badlands, and the Sasquatch, right? Explorer Timberline. Those include trail control, 32-inch tall tires, and skid plates along with recovery points. GMC, now this is an interesting one. The Acadia gives you a twin clutch rear diff, skid plates, off-road tires, and recovery points. And going back to Chevrolet for a second, same thing with the Traverse Z71. It's in that same line. They're actually pretty good. Going off of Honda, Case, what does Honda make that could take some abuse off-road?
Well, the two newest Trail Sport models, both the Pilot and the Passport, are very capable, as we've proven with the testing that we've done. You get skid plates and a really capable IVTM4 all-wheel drive system.
Yeah, and like the Pilot even has a tow point underneath. These are proper, good, mild off-roaders, right? They're not going to do the Rubicon, but for what we've experienced in national parks, they are going to be just fine, even though they don't have a low range and they are technically all-wheel drive. Hyundai, we are not going to put them on our recommended list because from what I've experienced, a lot of them have a dual clutch transmission.
They overheat.
Yep, they're just not good at low speed maneuvering. Jeep,
the Trailhawk.
We have Kia and the X Pro. We're not recommending that. Nissan, interesting one. The Pathfinder Rock Creek Edition. It's kind of as mild as I'm going to go on this list because it doesn't have some things I would typically want, but it does have good ground clearance and a good all-wheel drive and a good set of tires, a really impressive set of tires. That's why it's made it on the list. And Toyota. Now I'm not going to put the RAV4 TRD off-road on the list because it doesn't have really that much improvement over the standard RAV4, which is kind of disappointing off-road.
Like with some others, it's mostly an exercise in branding and marketing.
Yep, and then I'm also not going to include things like the Highlander or Corolla Cross. So that is my list of vehicles I would recommend the Park Service include on their list of vehicles, and it is a pretty specific list, and I think it needs to be, at least in terms of new vehicles.
One thing you'll notice about TFL's National Park all-wheel drive approved list is that all the vehicles they chose have one of two things or both: a ZF9 transmission or an aggressive transmission. The gearing should be comparable to a Toyota truck's 4-low second gear. And the second thing is a rear twin clutch differential. My Honda Passport has both. This is a very different all-wheel drive platform, let's say compared to a Honda CR-V. Different all-wheel drive system, different transmission type, and different gearing. This is awesome. I haven't been here in like 4 years. One of the car brands that TFL did not mention is Subaru. A while back, TFL damaged one of the Subarus during a review, and now they don't have a relationship, which I think is really ashamed because TFL is, well, they've grown to be the biggest off-road YouTube review channel. They are going to be the most trusted and unbiased. Well, that's okay, I guess, because we have a Subaru right in front of us. This is my friend Lee and his second-gen Subaru Outback. This has a 3-liter flat 6 with a 4-speed electronic automatic transmission, so non-CVT. It also has a rear torque locker, a 4-inch lift, and a very upgraded cooling system with sprayers. It's 20 years old, it's a 2004 model, and we're going to see how it does on this trail that, again, Outside Magazine says is too rough for all-wheel drive. And by the way, don't take that as a challenge. I've seen so many all-wheel drives fail this trail, and while I don't think it's very common for an all-wheel drive to attempt this, if we get a bunch of all-wheel drives blocking the trail, breaking down, getting stuck, then action might be taken, and let's not give the government a reason to get involved. Be responsible and adventure within your limits.
All right, Lee, there's a little bit of a gatekeeper obstacle here. You just need a little momentum.
I think I got this.
Yeah, at least Subaru has a locker. That looks like a...
John, that left line was super easy.
Yeah, I was looking at it, I'm like, Sandra just challenged herself on that line to the right. Yeah, left. Hey, Sandra, I think there's like a pull-off somewhere. You want to just take a little break. I think to the right where you're at, there's like a little pull-off. So, transtemp shot up to 226, a delayed reaction. Coolant dropped to 220.
Alright, you're good there, Sandra.
You look so good. You're like...
Yeah, so far I just got into normal operating temps. So I upgraded the radiator recently. This is like a 3-inch core. There's a giant transmission cooler here. This is rated for 34,000 pounds towing. I also have this wacky setup that I saw some Time Attack guys were doing, and it's a patio mister kit, and it's routed around the perimeter of the radiators, and it sprays on the AC condenser and the transcooler. And there's a distilled water reservoir over here buried underneath there.
Okay.
And I can just push a button in the cabin and it'll spray water on my radiators. And with the fans running, it pulls it through, hits the radiator, and at the very least, it cools off the trans temps. And yeah, I've been working on cooling this thing for a long time. And so far, it's been doing all right. Yesterday was pretty hot and it wasn't doing great, but neither was yours.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with
So the previous day, I felt like I was running into some heat soak issues. I took off this skid plate front lip extension and then took out this fan that was right in front of the transmission cooler. It was pretty clear that those two things were attributing to transmission temperatures getting hot. And this right here shows that the quick little trail fix I made was working. Yeah, 217. Yep, so it's now 217. And so definitely doing better. It hasn't been that long since we stopped. So at this point, yeah, it dropped even more now. It's 213, 206, 195. All right, so really pleased that we found the problem. This thing is cooling down as fast as it should. Really good line, Lee. Last night, the guy in the Subaru said that he was driving through some really gnarly terrain. And if you're not used to driving through moderate four-wheel drive terrain, this might seem gnarly to you. But just know that towards the end of the trail, you actually have to drive through a moderate rock garden. And it's still a long way from here. We have a lot more climbing to do. Oh, and this right here, this corner is where John P's MDX overheated, and then we started towing him up, and then we just called it. We're like, you know what, we just got to head back.
You can definitely see this spot being one to overheat vehicles.
Okay, my transmission's starting to get toasty. So next pull out, we should pull over.
10-4, line's at 222. Which is still okay with me. 230 is what I like to call it.
Yeah, my trans is at 190.
190 is my transmission's operating temp.
Oncoming.
Okay, we got the right of way. And I think this kind of widens out, so we might be able to pass here.
How many of us are there? 4?
Yeah, so just put three fingers up.
Are you gonna stop the chat?
We're done. Thank you. So this is actually where John P got up to. This is where we called it. It all kind of looked the same back there.
Yeah, I'd say if there's a turnout up here, I'm going to take it because my trans is getting really hot.
Yeah, I'm at 232 now. 240 is my ups. That's when I absolutely have to pull over. It looks like we could pull over here, Lee. Look at that. There's some space.
Right around this bend, I would say pull over.
Yeah, I think Lee and I are just gonna take a little break right here. Got space for two of us.
So we keep going down to it until next pull out. Me and Sandra.
Yeah, definitely don't want to block the trail or anything like that. So go to the next pull out. This is the epic view. It's beautiful. Except for all the smoke. Hey Lee, you're doing good. My guess is a lot better than you probably expected.
Yeah, the new radiator is working out a lot better. I just found this sitting here, and I'm like, hey, that looks a lot like a wheel. And it is. Somebody did not have a good time on the trailer.
We'll clean this up. We'll take this trash out of here, pack it out. So that was the third time we pulled over to let our vehicles cool down. And we wouldn't even know to pull over if we didn't have something like a scan gauge. No matter what you drive, you should monitor your temperatures. If your vehicle is having some kind of issue, if there's something causing heat soak, or if your load is too heavy, you could overheat your vehicle without you even knowing about it.
That actually makes sense. There's another really cute campsite here. It's FLATS.
And if there's a campsite right there, let's go take a little break. Lee wants to let things cool down, so let's take it.
I'm floored right now.
All right, Sandra, so you'll want to keep it going. If it's clear, just keep going, because Lee said he's floored right now. So he's going to need that momentum. Nice, nice.
And my trans temps are starting to get warm again.
There's a place to pull over right where I just passed if you want to.
Thank you, just one behind me.
I'll let you know the next one. You gonna stop there, Lee, for a bit?
Probably.
Yeah, this stuff gets pretty steep.
Okay, so we pulled over in a little pull-out spot, like a couple turns from where the truck is stopped.
All right, we'll just keep going just because it's kind of tight. That way we can just complete this climb. Actually, it's really wide over here. I'm gonna just stop over here off to the right. Sergio, you should probably do the same, just in case Lee needs a head start. We might need in case we need to pull him. This tail cam will give you a really good perspective of how steep this trail is. We started the trail all the way down below. And as mentioned earlier, it's not very technical. And Trails Off-Road only rates it a level 3 as far as technical rating. It's just that it's going to be demanding of a vehicle. My Honda weighs in at around 5,300 pounds. Unmodified, a Passport will weigh in at just over 4,200. All this added weight means the engine and transmission has to work harder. I know.
So pretty. So pretty.
It's really nice once you get to the plateau. Like I'm telling you, it's like that, like a scene out of The Sound of Music. You know that your vehicle has the capability to make it up here. So there's times where you said you're kind of floored, but
yeah, it's also misfiring right now.
Ah, okay.
So that really kills the power.
That retards the power. Yeah. Got to get a fist bump on camera, dude. You did awesome.
Thanks.
Nah, I still vote for rave party.
All right, we'll have a rave party. Set of switchbacks right here, and I remember there being a crazy rut. I don't know if they smoothed it out or what.
Yeah, it's crazy. Give me a little space here. I'm going to back up and read this.
Okay, yeah, I think that rut is right here.
Okay, this might take me a few tries. Hang on. I'm going to put my locker on.
All right, in that case, I'm going to go into sand mode, my most capable mode. Lee's good with his automatic locker.
It actually wasn't bad at all. It looks worse than it is.
Oh, I'm stuck. I'm teeter-tottering. All right, I'll get through this though.
D-track.
Balls. Man, that was pretty substantial for me, because I don't have all these fun doodads like real lockers. I actually used balls there, and it got me through.
Nice. All right, we all through then?
Yeah, we're good. Alright, so right here is where all that climbing ends. You are now at the Coyote Flat. So Lee's Subaru was not denied. My passport has been here. This is now the 4th time or 5th time. Yeah, it wasn't denied either, but we kind of already knew that because I've been up here so many times. It's not illegal for an all-wheel drive to drive up here. A month ago, there was a story that was making news headlines, where a Subaru Crosstrek in Canyonlands National Park was driving on a trail that is restricted to 4-wheel drives only. The National Park Service sent him a letter and warned him that in the future you might have a $5,000 fine or go to jail. And that's the National Park Service. This trail is in U.S. National Forest. Now, those restrictions in Canyonlands National Park were implemented around 10 years ago. That's pretty recent. Seems like they just started enforcing their laws. More recently, at the Great Sand Dunes National Park in Colorado, they also implemented a new no all-wheel drives allowed law. This is a shame because my Honda drove through that trail pretty easily. It's rated a level 3, just like this trail was rated a level 3, but it didn't have a Proline climb, so I never had to take any breaks. So these trails will in fact stop or give a lot of problems to a lot of all-wheel drives that, you know, for example, are not on that TFL National Park Approved list. But I do wonder, will they ever implement any kind of these laws in our public lands, in U.S. Forest Service or BLM, Bureau of Land Management land? The back and forth that I'm seeing on social media between many people that drive four-wheel drives and the few people that drive all-wheel drives off-road is puzzling to me. First of all, this video proves that if you're on a four-wheel drive trail that's of moderate difficulty, then you're probably not going to see all-wheel drives. The steep climbs, the rougher terrain will keep most all-wheel drives out. So for all the people that drive four-wheel drives, I generally would like to know, where are you driving to where you're saying that an all-wheel drive is blocking your path, or it's blocking the trail, it's broken down on the trail? Where are you? Are you on an easy four-wheel drive trail? Are you romping around the fire roads and you're just upset because someone took your camp spot? I would genuinely like to know, because I know a lot of you were elated by the news stories about a month ago. Many of you thought that this law applies to any trail that is some kind of truck trail, or it says four-wheel drive recommended. That ends up not being the case, but I need to let you know, be careful of what you wish for. Organizations like the Sierra Club and REI, they want to end off-road travel. There's people out there that want you to live in a box. They don't want you living a free life. If you give them an inch, in this case all-wheel drive restrictions, then they're going to take a mile. And they're already doing it right now, actually. There's so much land in Utah, in Moab, and now in around Lake Powell that are going to get closed down. They're threatening to close down. And the only thing stopping these land closures to off-road travel for anything, for your four-wheel drive, for your side-by-side, for your all-wheel drive, the only thing to stop these closures is our tiny off-road and overlanding and car camping communities. That's all we got. And if you want division in our community, then we're straight up doomed. Good call, good call.
I took a couple light hits to the rocker.